be pushed back in lieu of not the – see, here's the thing. It's not even just the memo of the Attorney General's report, but he's pushed that all back, and that's all because that's all part of that plays part into this whole entire thing with the FISA court. Once they spy on you and they gather that evidence, they still have to prove it in federal court, right? It's not going to be done in front of a tribunal. What that is, the FISA court is just there to provide that initial warrant, and then to 90 days out, check back up on that warrant. You got to come back and renew it. So after 90 days, you got to renew that warrant. You have to provide the court reason for renewal. So as the public, the only bulwark we have preventing us from being abused by these sort of things is the actual court itself. So if the court itself can't be trusted to weed out the bad, evil things that are going on with the Patriot Act or under FISA, how can we as a population feel comfortable that our constitutional rights aren't being just destroyed? And people could say what they want, oh, constitutional, blah. Guess what? That's the only thing that separates us from literally being a police state.
Okay. So in theory, what we finally saw with the memo was the outlining of these abuses and basically using the power inappropriately. And that should have been mainstream, widestream. We got to do something about this. And that's not simply the case.
That's exactly right. Instead, what they're trying to do is they're trying to muddy the waters and steal the narrative. And that's what they always try and do, Lee. And the reason why is because they're all complicit with these guys. They're all in bed with these FBI bigwigs. I mean, I have a list sitting in front of me of let's see, 38 mainstream reporters that RSVP to an off-the-record meeting with Hillary Clinton's team. You know, there's just so much that's going on that people don't even realize, because we all want to believe that Uncle Walter Cronkite, of the Cronkites of the world, have our best interests at heart, when really these journalists, they're one big conglomerate. The whole entire friggin' kit and caboodle is controlled by about 6 friggin' people.
Okay.
So they have so much invested right now at this point with the Russia collusion from their stories being run ad nauseum about the subject, that they refuse to, even when this evidence is presented before them, they're still grasping at straws. Oh, well, Adam Schiff says, oh, well, the Steele dossier says, well, we need to see what's going on. No, it's been 2 years. There's not one iota of evidence. Have they proved one iota of collusion evidence? Have they shown even one bit?
No, and I understand this. And for those that don't know, I understand that Trump did business in Russia. Trump ultimately licensed his name out to a Trump national with some rather seedy individuals in Russia. And it seems like literally forever they've been trying to tie it all together into one big bow. We can have an argument about Trump and the licensing or the whoring out of his name, or whether or not he's actually doing that with the presidency. That's a different discussion. The discussion is whether or not he was colluding as a presidential candidate.
And that was the scope of the original investigation. Everybody needs to remember this. What the people that have gotten caught up in this whole entire thing, it's not because of Russian collusion. And that's what the media won't tell you. It's process crimes after the fact, lying to the FBI. Manafort in bed with John Podesta's brother, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, in bed with her brother with the whole Ukrainian thing. So, you know, they try to be deceitful while not being deceitful on these news networks, and with these just completely aggro-pop charged articles coming out of places like the Washington Post. Really, what you have to ask yourself when it comes down to it, a place like the Washington Post, it's owned by Jeff Bezos, the guy who owns Amazon. They've secured a $650 million CIA contract. Do you really think that the Washington Post is going to run anything that's going to be even halfway critical of the CIA?
No, I don't think that he's going to, and I completely get that, and I guess that's where the frustration in the previous show came from. I know we've referenced it a lot, people. Just hang tight. We did an hour and 20. It'll be referenced again. My frustration as just a neutral observer to the subject, right? First of all, I feel hamstrung that there's literally nothing that I can do, right? Secondly, I'm completely frustrated with the fact that to get a straight story, I literally have to listen to multiple sides of the story to get to the core of the situation, to ultimately get to, well, I call bullshit on these people. because what they've done is over the line. And I can't, because if I do, then I'm aligning myself with a group that, and we talked about this in the last show, if I align myself with a group that has played the white-black card, I'm now a racist. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm aligning my interests with a side that's currently labeled as a racist.
Right. And believe me, I've went through a lot of that myself. I mean, people, oh, you're a white nationalist, huh? Just when you have a different opinion, people try and throw these things out there, and it couldn't be anything further from the truth. See, if people would really just pay attention to what the media is doing, they thrive. The Democrats especially thrive on this move. They love to be divisive. I mean, at the end of the day, you really have to just take a look at what's going on around you and how your own life is being impacted. And you need to ask yourself, if you're a resident of Flint, Michigan, if the Democrats who have been in control of Flint, Michigan since probably 1960 or so, do they truly have your best interest at heart?
No, I get that. And I see that it looks on the surface like Trump is trying to generate jobs and trying a trickle-down theory with what he's doing. Again, I'm aligning myself with that side, and that alignment causes me to be a racist. If I point out that Clinton has abused power, that it happened under the Obama administration, that clearly there were constitutional lines that were crossed, and we're not just talking about a simple piece of tape that was left behind for a bug on a wall. We're talking blatant, documented laws broken, right? From the DNC on up, just on an ethics level. Nothing's being done.
Nothing is being done, and that's the biggest problem. And, we talked about this too with the whole entire Comey situation, how, one of the biggest things they like to run in the media is, well, why did he reopen the investigation if he was trying to make sure that Hillary got elected? Easy, stupid morons. Where the heck did frickin' Weiner get busted? New York City, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, well, do you think it was the FBI who busted him, or was it the NYPD who busted him, the sting? It was the NYPD. So when the NYPD is involved as well, do you really think a bunch of blue-collar NYPD detectives are going to stand for knowing that those emails exist and the FBI doing nothing about it? There's no way in hell. Look, I know for a fact. I know New York detectives, retired detectives and active detectives. And I'll tell you right now, these dudes are the hardest working, most love America type dudes I've ever met in my life. And that's 99% of the FBI as well, Lee. I don't want anyone to get it twisted. I don't mean the rank and file, the guys that are out there working these cases every day. They're doing what their bosses are telling them to do. You don't have, Tom Jones from, Memphis who went and got this FISA warrant. It has Comey's signature on it. He's the one the buck stops with him. He's the boss, just like with Trump. The buck stops with Trump.
I don't know. And I guess what bothers me the most is I have half the media not talking about it whatsoever.
Yeah. And like I said, it's the most frustrating part is it's because if you've been following this from the beginning like we have, you realize you understand how much egg the media has on their face. When a place like the New York Times says it's 98% that Donald Trump will lose to Hillary Clinton, and then he wins the whole entire kit and caboodle with the Rust Belt all the way up into Michigan, it makes them look terrible. So there has to be a reason why they lost. They can't look in the mirror and say, well, we were just wrong. There's no self-reflection. So what they do is, it was the Russians. It had to be the Russians. Let's dive in. The Russians, he's colluded with the Russians. Well, I got news for you guys, all right? Breaking news right here, right now on the show. The Russians have never contacted me, all right? Nobody's asked me for my opinion one way or the other. You know how I decided who I was voting on? I lived through the Clinton era, first of all. Second of all, I realized all I was getting was another 4 years of Barack Obama if I voted for Hillary Clinton. And I don't want to be I don't want to be a spoke in the wheel. I want to break the wheel, like Daenerys Targaryen said. Enough is enough with the status quo. It's gotten us nowhere. We need to change. And guess what? I know that it seems like it's an uphill battle, Lee, that nobody's listening, nobody gives a damn, nobody cares. But there's things going on. There's things going on behind the scenes that would really blow the doors off of most people if they just unmask them all at one time. What's going on with the IG report is a long time coming. I really wish that they would have been able to find a way to – you want a special counsel? It should have been done under the Bush administration to arrest those war criminals. Right.
I completely agree. And I'm not saying that anybody is any more holier than thou. Everybody –
No, either.
Nobody has played the media better than any other side has before. Certainly, I mean, everybody points back to the Bush administration. So the big talk was Bush started all the wars. That's fantastic. But I don't see anybody pulling the plug on any of the wars that were started after all of the talk and all of the claims. I don't.
No, just accelerating them.
Right, because it's good business. And I get that.
Exactly.
I'm realistic that the only economy the U.S. seems to have is war. But we can't do that, right? We can't. Now we can. We can say that we're warmongers now because now as a person who takes the left side, now I can be angry about the war again.
Yeah. Look, that's
right. If I
thing.
take the PC side, now I can be mad at war again. I don't understand how that position wasn't taken under a black president, that he's a warmonger. See, this is my whole problem. I'm having a problem with all of this. As somebody who wants to try to remain neutral, and I like to think of myself as kind of educated, I'm really unhappy with the zero neutrality of this all.
And that's the thing. We expect the fourth estate to do the right thing and leave impartiality out of it. If you want to do a 1-hour opinion show like Hannity, we all know what we're getting there. But how about some hard news? Why does everybody have to be disingenuous? Just some hard news. We don't need you to tell us what to think. We know how to process information. We understand what's going on. And those of us who don't understand, well, they're not paying attention anyway. So give us what we request. Why do private citizens like myself have to sue you guys for a Federal Information Act and go out of my way to learn things that shouldn't even be classified? The whole entire this is classified. We're gonna ruin agents, and the whole thing the Democrats did leading up to the memo was just absolute and utter political theater. And we've seen it once the memo was released. There was nothing in there that was confidential. That was all stuff we all knew, Lee. We just got confirmation of stuff we've been discussing.
Yeah, and it's funny that we bring this up because I had this discussion with my fiance, which is all of this, literally all of this, and I get it. The general public can't really handle the truth. Like I don't want to say we're sheeple, but we've been programmed to pick one side or the other. That's right. That's literally the way we're fed. We're a two-party system. You pick a side. And currently,
if you don't pick a side, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a nut job.
Right. You're a nut job. You can't stand in the middle. You can't be a true libertarian. You can't be somebody with a free thought.
Right. I always say I'm conservative when it comes to fiscal matters, but I'm very socially liberal. I could care less what anybody does.
You're a tree-hugging goddamn hippie.
Yeah, I mean, socially liberal. When it comes to how you live your life, I really don't give a fuck. I have 2 rules, all right? Leave me alone, and I don't want to pay for it. As long as those 2 rules are met, I don't care what you do. You want to marry your toaster? Have at it, Chief.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. My frustration is, obviously, the general public has demonstrated repeatedly to those in power, i.e. the media or the right or the left, and I guess they're all interconnected at this point, that we simply cannot handle being told the truth, that we'd much prefer being angry at one side or the other and having one side or the other lie to us and being fed whatever we need to be fed to keep us happy. And please make sure that my card works so that I can get food at 7-Eleven for free. I mean, that's what we are. We're a country that feeds its people, right? Without really having to get a job because we don't have any jobs. We've really truly we've overpriced ourselves. We have an economy that's grossly out of control based on a dollar that simply doesn't exist. And people who either believe you follow this left side and everything is politically correct, okay? In which case you shouldn't watch comedy, you shouldn't watch anything that has a point of view at all. Because anything that has a point of view would be politically incorrect. Anything.
Microaggressions or...
Yeah, right. And with a lot of anger behind it. I'm really frustrated. What even is more shocking is the fact that both the right and the left sides, both of these very diametrically opposed situations, they're both very angry about it. Why are they so angry? Why are you directing your... I feel like they're getting charged up at each other, which deflects from big pharma, big agro.
Yeah, the real problems.
The real problem, right?